Hi there, this is your revision video for mathematics. So just starting off, we're going to talk about the exam board that we use in maths. So we use the OCR exam board. And on the screen there, it just shows you a breakdown of the exam papers. So we've got foundation and higher tier, and then each tier sits 3 papers, and they're all equally weighted. But basically, the conversation I want to just get across here is that if you underperform in one paper, that doesn't mean that you fail that paper. It's an overall accumulation of scores. So on the next slide, I'm going to show you roughly what score you need to achieve a pass, and obviously other grades. But yeah, basically, if one paper goes badly, another paper can go really well, and they balance each other out. And also, the second paper in both tiers, is the non-calculator paper. The other 2 papers, so the first one, the last one, they are calculator. So grade boundaries over the past few years, as you can see there on the left, foundation paper, to get a grade 4, you need to achieve 44%, and to achieve a 5, roughly about 60%. And then for the higher tier paper, those are on the right. There's a little comment there just to say there's 20% crossover. So 20% of the foundation paper will be on the higher paper as well, which means for both parties, so for the higher tier students, there kind of should be 20% of marks kind of guaranteed because it's questions on the foundation paper. But then on the flip side, if you're on the foundation paper, then they're probably your hardest questions. Okay, but obviously, as you can see, you can still achieve a grade 5 by achieving 60%. So those 20% aren't necessarily needed, but obviously we would attempt them. So different types of questions. We've got assessment objective 1, 2, and 3. So AO1, now this is the most important one for me because assessment objective 1 is just factual recall. So can you recall facts, terminology, definitions? And if you can do that, that is 50% of your paper. And obviously, we've just been on the previous slide. If you achieve 44%, you get a grade 4, which is a pass in maths. Now, obviously, we're trying to push for a 5 as a better pass, but 44% will be a grade 4. So if you answer all the AO1 questions, then you'll pass. So here are some examples of AO1 questions. So stuff like this on the first couple of pages. Stuff like this. So can you write down the next number in a sequence? Questions like these, where with rote learning, where if you just do this enough, you can memorize it. Again, puts us in good stead to pass our maths GCSE. We then get on to AO2. AO2 questions obviously a bit more worded, but still got some key fundamental skills in. So we should be able to pick some marks on these. Now, the main one is AO3, which is where typically students will struggle. So that's what we do a lot of work in lessons on, which is called method selection. Where here, for example, these questions all look very similar, but they're very different skills. So they could be trigonometry, Pythagoras, or neither. Okay. Here are some useful websites. Now, this isn't an exhaustive list. There are more that we can add, but these are the main ones that we advise that students use. So students should be familiar with Desmos because they do the homework on there. Corbett Maths, at Parents' Evening, it'll be discussed with you how to utilise that better, and I'll be making a video on how the students can really utilise that to support using their what's called question level analysis from the mocks. Maths Genie is just a really good one-stop place for topic by topic, but also for past papers with mark schemes. And then GCSE maths questions is a really good one because this one is specific. We can click on OCR. And again, I'll do another video on that one to show students how to access that and how to find the questions and obviously the answers that go with them. And then we've got Dr. Frost and Pinpoint Learning. So the main part of this video is to do with revising maths. Now, for me, there's 2 key ways of revising maths. The first one is past papers, and then the other one is a more recent one, really, is flashcards. So flashcards is something that we're going to be providing all the students with. We've bought into the thousands of them, and we'll give them out free of charge. Excuse me. And we're going to populate these with the students in lesson time. So we're going to put together a list of things that we think is key information for the students to remember. So, for example, on one side of the flashcard, it might say area of a triangle, and on the other side, it'll say half base times height. And these are really useful things that you can either practice yourselves, the students can, you can practice at home with parents, so the parents can hold the cards up and then you can tell them obviously what's meant to be on the other side. But again, this is for your AO1. So if you can regurgitate enough information of AO1, then you'll put yourself in a really good position to pass. And like I say, the second one and the main one for us is past papers. Seeing enough questions in maths, the papers you'll notice year on year are nigh on identical. Apologies. All you'll notice is that numbers have changed slightly, maybe a few names and questions, but typically the questions look very much the same. So complete as many papers as possible to increase your exposure. Mark schemes are available, and there's a link there. But again, that'll be on another video as well. If you struggle to follow the mark scheme because it's not the easiest thing to do, then obviously the staff at the Academy are more than happy to help and mark the papers on your behalf. And the other thing I would suggest is complete the papers in exam conditions to familiarise yourself with working the time for over 90 minutes. Because our exam paper is 100 marks and you have 90 minutes to complete it. So it's less than a minute a mark. So you've got to work at some pace. Okay. And there'll be another video to follow this, which will be kind of how to attack a maths exam paper. Thank you.